Captain Harv. According to the FAA, when is nighttime? Such a simple question. Why, even when I was a little Captain Harv running around the yard informing the other children that they were playing with their toy airplanes all wrong, I knew it was officially nighttime the moment the streetlights came on, or when Mama Captain Harv told me to get my keister inside for dinner. It'll shock you to learn the FAA sees it differently. According to FAR Part 1.1, night means the time between the end of evening civil twilight and the beginning of morning civil twilight, as published in the Air Almanac and converted to local time. Now, if you've ever looked at the Air Almanac, you know that you either need an advanced degree in mathematics to figure it out, or be me. Since you're definitely not me, better to just go to the National Weather Service website to find out when sunrise and sunset occur in your area. But even then, you still need to know when the FAA thinks it's nighttime and will credit your flight hours accordingly. There are actually several different definitions of twilight and nighttime depending on your personal proclivities. For example, let's take an ordinary day in some out-of-the-way town I just picked randomly. July 4th, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. By visiting the National Weather Service website, or consulting any number of other reputable sources, we find that while everyone can agree on sunrise and sunset times, the definitions of twilight, and therefore nighttime, vary greatly depending on your purposes. If you're an astronomer, you're only satisfied with the darkest of night skies. Based on our location and the date for this example, it's only nighttime from 11:01 p.m. to 2:55 a.m. If you're a mariner, nighttime is 10:03 p.m. until 3:54 a.m. And if you're a so-called normal person, you only care about actual sunrise and sunset times, which are 5:17 a.m. and 8:39 p.m. So of course, now we refer back to the times mentioned in FAR Part 1.1, civil twilight, which ends at 9:16 p.m. and begins again at 4:41 a.m. Remember, Federal Aviation Regulation Part 1.1, the front of the book, clearly and unambiguously states that nighttime is between the end of civil twilight one evening and the beginning of civil twilight the next morning. And that is the FAA definition of night. So clearly it follows that if you take off at 4:20 a.m. and fly 3 very quick takeoffs and landings to a full stop ending by 4:40 a.m., all before the beginning of Part 1.1's definition of nighttime, you would have met the criteria for having performed sufficient nighttime takeoffs and landings to legally carry passengers at night. And that's where you'd be wrong. FAR 61.57 states that in order to maintain nighttime currency to act as PIC with passengers aboard, a pilot must have made at least 3 takeoffs and 3 landings to a full stop during the period beginning 1 hour after sunset and ending 1 hour before sunrise. That's right, FAR 61.57 doesn't give a night owl's hoot what FAR 1.1 says about when it's nighttime. So, of course, it's only logical that this definition of nighttime applies across the board, and you can keep that one simple rule in mind to determine everything about nighttime flying, and you'd be wrong again. Let's think about a different example for a moment. If you're not night current and end up landing with a full moony of passengers 59 minutes after sunset, even though civil twilight had already ended, you'd think you'd be in the clear because you've landed less than an hour after sunset. But no, this is where the FAA suddenly decides that FAR 1.1 defining the beginning of night as the end of civil twilight is what they meant all along. And oh, by the way, you're in violation. You got this, Captain. You got this. You got this. Bottom line, make darn sure you read and understand and are in compliance with the regs before flying your passengers when the sun's gone to bed. Well, I, for one, I, for one, am glad I could shine yet another moonbeam of wisdom on your eager yet naive flying career. Until next time, this is Captain Harv reminding you, when I bust a TFR, ATC apologizes and asks how long I'd like to stay.